Hello! V-Gates. My name is Third, and I'm a really big fan of this thing, but when it releases new content, I'm gonna freak out crazy style. One must imagine Buzz Aldrin, whenever he gets asked about that one time that he went to the moon. I am a really big fan of Pokemon. Anyone that knows me knows this. A lot of my teachers know this. Anytime I go to the Mall of America, Ibisu, which is a Japanese store within the mall, is one of the handful of stops I will always go to so that I can get my grubby little hands on remnant Pokemon figures. You guys can't see it, but over to the side on my PC, there are 8 remnant figures on top of it. About $90 down the drain, which, considering Pokemon and their corporate greed, $15 for one figure is pretty damn good. I've always loved Pokemon, though. I grew up on the anime. I played my brother's save file of Black and White because I didn't know how to restart it. It was a big part of my childhood, is what I'm trying to say. Same with, like, every Pokemon fan ever. And I still love it. You know, Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus, I guess, remains one of my favorite games of all time, and I will be spending $300 on Pokemon Legends ZA. But for some reason, I've noticed that a large chunk of the Pokemon fandom doesn't share that opinion with me. Not that they'll buy the new Pokemon games, but that they actually, like, enjoy the new stuff that Game Freak puts out. I don't only see this behavior in the Pokemon fandom, though. I also see it in other fandoms, because, duh, I don't think anyone wants to listen to me nerd out about Pokemon for 10 minutes. I could, though. Try me. Try me! A pattern that I've noticed in a lot of fans that are fans of anything that's more than a decade old is that they kind of loathe anything new that comes out of the source material. The example I like to use is obviously Pokemon, because that is where I see it the most. For whatever reason, any of the mainline games that came after Gen 6, as well as the animes that went with them, got hated on to hell and back when they released. Which is crazy, considering Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is the game that came after Gen 6, X and Y, brought in regional variants, which are some of the most beloved Pokemon, minus Toedscool and Toedscroll. But I digress. It also brought in fucking Twinkle Tackle, which, like, what's not to love? To be fair, I am probably biased because Pokemon Sun and Moon is my favorite game of the mainline games, and of every Pokemon game ever, my second favorite behind Arceus, which I will touch on that game later. One of the main critiques I see in Pokemon Sun and Moon is that there's a lot of hand-holding, aka the game tells you what to do, and, like, helps you through it. I can see how that might be frustrating for some people who spent $50 on a game and maybe even more on a 3DS or 2DS, but of course, the hand-holding comes from the fact that Pokemon is like a baby game. For babies. I'm not going to defend Pokemon's greed because obviously Sun and Moon likely wasn't worth the money a lot if people spent on it due to how easy it was. But the same is true for, like, every other game from the line. Hell, I don't even think Legends Arceus was worth the $70 or so that was spent on it, and it legit took me a year to complete. There isn't a year of playtime. I just suck at video games. One time I got 13th place in a round of Fortnite because I was camping the whole time. What can I say? I'm just a pro friggin' gamer. That being said, though, Sun and Moon being as easy as it is probably why I enjoyed it so much. I went back to play Diamond and Pearl a while back, technically Platinum, but it's the same game, and I was having a good old time until I got to the goddamn fighting gym. That's, what, the 4th game out of 8? You're telling me, Pokemon, that because I picked my cute little turtle and not this stupid fire monkey, I won't be able to beat the gym and thus the game, or if I want to, I have to catch and then kill a billion Ponyta just to get a Rapidash? Come on now. In fact, my friend was the one that brought this up to me because they were stuck in the remake, aka Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. The new ones! You people shat on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl when they came out. I get it if you don't like the art style. The art style does suck hard, but mechanically, they're kind of the same exact game. I played both of them at relatively the same time recently to see if Brilliant Diamond was really that worse than the original, and I swear to God, I was getting deja vu the entire time. The only thing holding me back from saying that Pokemon fans seemingly hating the thing that they're fans of just because nostalgia fuels their interest instead of enjoyment is the existence of my dear, sweet, perfect, lovely, amazing Legends Arceus, or Arceus. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. Pokemon Legends Arceus is a game that released back in January of 2022. The release date used to be sometime in December, so I wanted it for my birthday, but then they pushed the date back, and then they pushed it back again, and again, and again. And I basically ended up waiting a month for my birthday present. Completely worth it, though. Pokemon Legends Arceus seems to be the only Pokemon game that came after Gen 6 and didn't get ruthlessly hated on after its release. Obviously, it had its critiques, given the bugs in the game early on in its release, but any of the criticism it got was nowhere near as bad and nowhere near as mean as what any of the other games got. And the reason I think that was the case, other than the fact that it released around the same time as Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, so by comparison it was amazing, is because it's like a new thing. The structure of Pokemon Legends Arceus, mechanically, was different than any of the other mainline games. It had the usual turn-based battling that you'll see in the mainline games, but it also had literal boss fights in which your character had to battle the Pokemon by dodging its attacks and throwing bombs at it before your Pokemon could battle it in the turn-based style. That game was genuinely very difficult compared to the mainline games, and I think that's why it's so well loved. I love the Pokemon games, don't get me wrong, but the company has also been making the same exact kinds of games for nearly 30 years over 9 generations. They'll make their side games every now and again that are structured differently, but none of them have gotten the same amount of publicity and hype as Legends Arceus did before its release date. Which is a shame because of how scared Pokemon seems to be when it comes to branching out and making actually new games. Which is why the success of Legends Arceus is so exciting, because finally Pokemon is committing to a new game style. Sometime this year, 2025, Pokemon is going to be releasing a second installment in the Legends series. And what's more, so far they haven't announced a new mainline game, aka Generation 10. There's rumors that Legends is going to replace the mainline, but I don't really want to believe that, since I do want there to be games for younger people that maybe don't have the skill level or whatever to play the Legends games. Also, because I'm worried that if Legends does replace the mainline games, they're gonna make them easier so that it can appeal to a larger audience. Which would be a shame, since Legends being harder than the mainline games is part of the appeal for older fans. Older fans that would otherwise be able to speedrun a mainline game in a day. Nevertheless, I do still think that a lot of the Pokemon fans that hate the new games only hate the new games because they didn't release when they were kids. I'm sure that if Gen 1 released today as Gen 10, Pokemon fans would still hate it to the moon and goddamn back. Another example I'd like to talk about briefly is Apple. Here I go again, defending a trillion-dollar company, but really, for years, people have begged Apple to go from their lightning cables to USB-C, aka the cable that literally every other electronic ever uses. And after years, they announced the iPhone 15, which used a USB-C cable. And guess what the Apple buyers did? They went up in arms. They went crazy. They hated it. And I get it, you know, because now you gotta buy new cables for whatever number of cord-charged Apple products are in your house. But you asked for this. Or, not you, but you get what I mean. Companies are really, really good at knowing what's going to make money, and that's important because companies will often bank on the nostalgia that comes from their long-standing franchise. And sometimes, it doesn't work. We saw this in Pokemon with a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I see it the most with Disney. With the evolution of computer animation and CGI, it has become way, way cheaper to do that than hand-drawn animation, which is why Disney has done a full switch over to that since Chicken Little. Disney, being the corporate, money-hungry business it is, decided to start making remakes of their beloved films with CGI back in 2010 with Alice in Wonderland. It's a smart move on their part, to be fair. I mean, a lot of their fan base is made up of millennials that are famously afraid of adulting and badly want life to go back to when they were kids, so it would make sense for Disney to do remakes of those films that are beloved by the 28-year-old toddlers of the world. But wait, you guys, I'm lying! Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, these nostalgia-based moves on Disney's part do not work because of their intense overuse of CGI. You'll see this the most in the responses to both of the Lion King live-action movies because, you know, they aren't technically live-action. Obviously, it is better than possibly killing a bunch of lions for a real live-action movie, considering that we know that's the case for actual live-action movies with actual animals. Cough cough, air buddies, cough cough, snow buddies, cough cough, space buddies, cough cough, Santa buddies, cough cough, spooky buddies, cough cough, Santa buddies, cough cough, super buddies. Both movies did still get a lot of backlash because of the fact that they were fully CGI animated, and partially because, at least with the Mufasa movie, they weren't able to get, like a super creative character design for any of the characters, because it's supposed to be realistic. And because of that factor, it was sometimes, in some scenes, hard to tell who was who. I haven't seen Mufasa yet, but I did see the first live-action movie in theaters. I don't remember much about it on account of the fact that it was nearly, 6 years ago now. Jesus Christ, but I remember enjoying it at the very least. It wasn't technically live action, and it definitely was not as good as the 2D animation style that it used to have, but Disney also isn't going to go back to that. They aren't Laika, guys. Laika, as a studio, is only up and running because the owner of it co-founded Nike. They make money off their movies. I'm not saying they don't, but they don't make enough money to make more movies, if that makes sense. Disney's money hungry is what I'm trying to say. We know this. People are going to see their movies no matter what, so they're going to keep making them the way they do. We should honestly feel lucky, though, that they finally made a new movie with a new plot and new songs, written, by the way, by my goat, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Rise up! Rise up! I feel like a lot of theory channels, especially the blank theory channels, have made it so different types of media thinks it needs to have lore! As MatPat says. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, of course. Deeper stories and harder to figure out stories are often able to tell much richer stories that can oftentimes speak to, like, a deeper part of a person that that person probably never thought could be reached. However, sometimes there's lore where there doesn't need to be. For example, Gimkit, the live learning game show. I was sitting in my German class one day when my German teacher announced to the class that one of the higher level classes discovered that there was a story behind one of the Gimkit games. Gimkit is a live learning game show similar to Kahoot or Blookit, but it's more like gaming. When you look up Gimkit lore, you will find an entire wiki fandom page about all the games that have lore and how to solve them, but we discovered it via Snowy Survival, a game where you shoot people with snowballs to turn them into mummies. Or whatever. You can find entire YouTube videos about the entirety of the lore, but to make a long story short, it took us an entire 45 minutes or whatever class period to discover some of the lore. What I'm trying to say is it's kind of difficult. Well, it's not difficult, it's just tedious, like super duper tedious. If you've tried to get, 10 gimfish and about a bajillion water bottles from the lake with 30 other people helping, you know what I mean. Again, that's not to say that having a deep story is bad. I want that. Please raise media literacy. I just think it's a little funny to me that there's lore in Gimkit, the live learning game show. That's all. Okay, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe. And if you made it this far into the video, then please, oh please, oh please, comment video ideas. Please, I am in a drought. I need video ideas. Alright, you were all great. My name is Third. Guten, bye. Hi guys, Third here. First of all, Guten Bye is an inside joke. I usually put it in a bit at the end, but I don't... This is a bonus feature, okay? This is a bonus feature so I can show off my Pokemon figurines. Okay, first of all. Whoa. This is the first one I got, is a Mimikyu. I was really excited when I got him, because when I got the pack, I was like, oh my god, I hope I get Mimikyu. And then I got Mimikyu, because I'm the GOAT. This is one of my more recent ones. I was kind of upset when I got it, because I don't really like getting the Pikachu ones, because they're basic. But then I realized that there's a little baby Snom. Technically Pikachu is supposed to go up here, and Snom is supposed to go in this little notch on the icicle, but I didn't, I wanted Snom to be front and center. Here's Jirachi. This is another pack where I was like, I really, really want Jirachi, and then I got Jirachi, because I'm the GOAT. Again, this is another Pikachu one. I actually like this one a lot. I really like the texture and the structure of it. I don't know. This is a Piplup. Not much to say about him. This is a Vaporeon from the same, not the same pack, but like the same kind of pack. I really like this. It's very fun. And then here is the last one. I like this one a lot too because of the texture. I think I just like this like brick stone stuff. I think it also could just be because like these two are like very Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like I don't know. I think it's just the region. I really like Pokemon, guys. Whoa! Oh yeah, and here's more. And a pig. And a Pikachu. Copycat. Oh, and cards. I love the Mall of America, guys. I love that. I love it. I love it.